annual report into their proceedings. When our annual report blossomed into 400 pages, they decided they didn't need that read into their proceedings any longer. But we must give them a copy of our annual report, which is what you report to the state level, and then what the state level reports to the national level of what we do across the country. And a copy of those proceedings is taken to the Smithsonian, who is supposed to present it to Congress. Now, whether they present it to Congress or not, I don't know, but it is filed with the Smithsonian, and Congress can check up on us anytime they'd like to do that. And so this is our liberal annual report, just as any corporation would have an annual report. So you are a part of that annual report through your e-master questionnaire filing. Now, we hope to eventually fund equipment and expertise to have even more sophisticated webinars than we've had in the past, and a regular schedule of these webinars has been posted on the website. In addition, I just finished proofing a new prospective member brochure. It is beautiful. I've just approved the selling price of it. It'll be 30 cents each. This brochure opens from envelope size to poster size, and it's contemporary, something that you're going to want to have a good supply of on hand to hand to people who are prospective members. And speaking of prospective members, how many of you regularly, I'm just trying to make sure I use that word, regularly use the prospective member database? This is not a good sign, and I'm going to tell you why it's not a good sign. It's essential for each chapter to use e-membership to its fullest. Here in Kentucky, just before I came, I looked into a report in the prospective member database. And the report says that Kentucky has 208 prospective members. Of that total, the status is unknown for 101 of them. And only 68 of the 208 have even been contacted by local chapters. Now you have 208 people who are interested in being members of DAR, and only 68 of them have been contacted. And only 10 have either become a member or are pending. In addition, since the inception of the PMD, 164 people have indicated that they have relatives who are members of DAR, and only 3 of them have become members. Now, ladies, I'm telling you that those 164 are pretty easy marks for you. So I urge you to use your prospective member database. And if you're using it but putting no notes in there, I put some notes in there because Aunt Marianne is watching you. It's critical that we involve and mentor the new members in our chapter once we get them. And one of the things I like to share is the story of the woman who got me in DAR. She called me one day when I was 24 years old, and don't start adding. And she said, I've met your second cousin at state conference, New York State Conference. And she says that she would pay for you to join the DAR if you would like to do so, and you can join on her line because she's your father's first cousin. I said, well, I have to think about this. I had no idea what the DAR did. And I called my mother, and my mother said, oh, you have to do that. It's a wonderful organization. The principles for which they stand are so in line with what our family believes. And I know I'm not eligible, but you can join through your father's side. Well, I thought about it a few days, and I finally called Margaret McKay back. And I say her name for a reason. She had never married, and she loved to do genealogy. She took our chapter from 49 members to 160 members because she would ask somebody if they'd like to join, and then she would do their papers for them. Well, what she did for me was every week she would call me the week before the meeting, and she'd say, now, Marianne, don't forget that DAR is next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And And I'd say, oh, I forgot. And then I'd either get a babysitter or have my husband, make sure he was going to be home. And on the nights I couldn't get a sitter or he wasn't going to be home, my chapter told me to bring my son with me. I had one son at the time. Told me to bring him with me. And I thought, I can't believe this. So I'd have him in his pajamas and take a book and some Matchbox cars, and one of the ladies would sit in the back of the room with him while I took the minutes, because by then I was recording secretary. This was not only mentoring me, but it was helping me attend. And I know that might sound like anathema to some of you who are of the old school, but I will tell you that is the reason I'm standing here today, because my children's Grandma McKay allowed them to come to chapter meetings with Mommy so that she could participate. And we need to do this for our younger members, because then they will want to come. Recently, I had a member of 1 year ask me a question, and I'm sharing it with you because it really resonated with me. She asked me, and this was in Alabama 2 weeks ago, so I've kind of changed what I do now. She asked me what I would tell her as a new member of about 1 year is the reason that she should become active in DAR. And she said, and these are her words, exactly what is the value of my membership in the DAR? And I stood there for a few seconds and I said, I will tell you that the reason you should be active in the DAR is because the way things in this country are today, and the way things seem to be going today, this organization is one of the few organizations to which you can belong and make a difference. This is, thank you. This is one of the few organizations which can make a difference by reiterating the founding principles of this country, by reminding people why we became a Republican democracy. And we have the responsibility, because our ancestors fought and died just as the gentleman in your song in the Civil War fought and died, for the principles upon which this country was founded. And the reason you should do it through the DAR is because you will be working with women who have the same values that you have. Because I believe that every one of us in this room share core values. We may not always agree, and we may not always do things the same way, but we share core values, and we share the desire for this country to remain free. And that's why you should become an active member of the DAR. With her my experience as the CEO of the American Lung Association of Mid-New York for 16 years. And that experience was something that was very telling to me. When I would go to meetings of the other executives all over the country, and there were about 100 of us, they would say to me, Mary Ann, you're always talking about your activity with the DAR. Tell us what makes you want to do that. Why do you give so much time to the DAR? We can't get our volunteers to spend 2 hours a week with us. And I said exactly what I just said to you now. It's because the women share the same values I share. It's because we feel we are making a difference in this country by keeping in front of people who are either foreign-born or not educated properly about the principles of this country in front of them. And the work of this organization is done on the local level. And it is you at every one of these tables here tonight who are doing the work of the DAR. And you spend so much time. We all spend a lot of time. And this is the greatest volunteer organization in the country, in my opinion, and I just applaud every one of you for all of the work that you're reported this week. So thank you so much for that. I believe that these are exciting times for DAR and for its members. Just as three circles represent the past, the present, and the future, God, home and country, historic preservation, education, and patriotism, so do they represent the national, state, and chapter level of the society. It's from the National Society that we receive general direction and administrative support and a sense of identity. The state organizations assist by taking national policy and work into sharper focus for the local chapters. But it is indeed here at the local chapter level, the very grassroots of our organization, that the true work of NSDAR takes place. I do commend each and every one of you for the work that you are doing in your communities. When we took office, I asked each person to think about the triads or threes in her life and to share them with me. And I received the following not long ago. Life is a book in volumes 3, the past, the present, the yet to be. The past is written and laid away. The present we're writing every day. And the last and best of the volumes 3 is locked from sight. God holds the key. Author known only to God. Whoops, can't turn the page here. Okay. I'd like to thank each and every one of you in the Bluegrass State, I do know that, Jessie Ann, here in Kentucky, for you are building on the past, moving forward with our future, with faith, family, and friends, another triad for me. And I salute each and every one of you for your accomplishments. I look forward to continuing our work together in circles of friendship, service, and commitment. Thank you so much for having me, even though it's a short time. And I will say, before I finish, I'm so glad you fit me in between the two games.